Listen, Whole Foods Market is a great place to get everything that we need for a fantastic summer barbecue. They have the chicken thighs, the ground beef. We love to have salmon burgers, uncured hot dogs. Plus, there's all the other things that you love for a summer barbecue, the ice cream, the tortilla chips, the salsas, salad kits. You can get it all at Whole Foods Market.
And look for hundreds of yellow low price signs that help you save without compromising the quality you expect from Whole Foods Market. There are so many ways to save on summer grilling favorites at Whole Foods Market. Let's talk about the Defender 110. It is a vehicle built for the modern explorer. Gretch, I have a friend who's extremely adventurous, and she loves her Defender 110. It's a vehicle that looks tough because it is tough. The Defender boasts an exterior design for optimum durability. It has a raised hood and sculpted grille that give the Defender 110 a modern edge.
Yeah, it has 3D surround cameras with clear sight ground view that let you see underneath the vehicle and anticipate obstacles in rough terrain. Clear sight rear view offers an unobstructed rear view even when you can't see through the back window. Driver aid technologies make driving and parking simpler. Intuitive driver displays are customizable to your journey. Design your Defender 110 at LandRoverUSA.com. Visit LandRoverUSA.com to learn more about the Defender 110. Explore the Defender 110 at LandRoverUSA.com.
Lemonada.
Hello, we're here for More Happier, a podcast where we get happier. Today, we're sharing my recent interview on the Totally Booked with Zibby podcast. It's hosted by Zibby Owens, my friend and the powerhouse bookstore owner, best-selling author, and just promoter of reading and books everywhere. In my conversation with Zibby, which was recorded in front of a live audience, you'll hear all about my new book, Secrets of Adulthood, Simple Truths for Our Complex Lives. This was such a fun conversation. It's about why I love personality frameworks, things I've discovered in the empty nest open door phase. We have a really energizing conversation. I cannot wait for you to listen. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Now, here's the episode.
Welcome back to Totally Booked Live. I am so excited to be here with Gretchen Rubin.
Woo! I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk all about Secrets of Adulthood, but I'll just read a quick bio. Who here has read something by Gretchen Rubin? Like everybody.
Thank you. Gold star.
Okay, Gretchen Rubin is one of today's most influential observers of happiness and human nature. She is the author of many books, including the blockbuster New York Times bestsellers The Happiness Project, The Four Tendencies, Better Than Before, and Life in Five Senses. Her books have sold more than 3.5 million copies worldwide in more than 30 languages. That must feel good.
It does.
Good.
Yeah. Doesn't get old.
She hosts the top-ranking award-winning podcast, Happier with Gretchen Rubin, where she explores practical solutions for living a happier life. Raised in Kansas City, she lives in New York City with her family. Yay.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be talking to everybody today. Thank you for having me. Hey, can I just point out, Zibby coordinated her outfit with the cover. Can I just say that is next level, right?
I mean, gotta give good service here.
I know, the attention to detail is remarkable.
Okay, Secrets of Adulthood, Simple Truths for Our Complex Lives. Explain the concept for the book.
Okay, so a couple different strands came together. First of all, I wanted to collect the secrets of adulthood that I had learned with time and experience, usually the hard way, to give to my two daughters who were like going off into the world. And so I wanted to save them some of the suffering or frustration that I felt with like passing along what I'd learned. But just as much I realized once I started keeping track of them, I wanted to keep them for myself because I have to keep learning the same lessons over and over. Like working is one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination, or something that can be done at any time is often done at no time. And I have to learn that over and over. And as I was gathering these, I also wanted to push myself to really use the form of the aphorism. Now, I don't use the word aphorism in the title or subtitle because nobody knows what an aphorism is. But essentially, an aphorism is just a general observation about human nature that's attributed to a person. So there are proverbs like "you can't push a rope." That's folk wisdom. But with an aphorism, it's like Oscar Wilde said it, or Warren Buffett said it, or Montaigne said it. But it's a very demanding form because it's very hard to write short. Like that letter where somebody said, "Sorry, I wrote you a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one," and to crystallize my thoughts in a very short way. So I wanted to do both of those things, and so I started keeping this giant list of my aphorisms, and then from those I picked out the ones that were secrets of adulthood.
And some of these are other people's thoughts, and some are yours.
No, they're all mine.
They're all yours.
These are all mine. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not a quote book.
Right. Oh my gosh. I could do a quotation book. I have literally thousands of quotations. That's one of my favorite things to do is to collect quotations. So I would love to do that one day, but no, these are all from me.
Now I feel like you're even wiser than I previously believed.
Well, come on. But you may not agree with all of them. And that's kind of the fun of the aphorism is because it's so short. It's easier to think about. You can sort of think, well, do I agree with this? What are examples that I see of this in my own life? Or do I reject it? Do I disagree? Or do I have my own twist? Like I was talking to somebody, one of the secrets of adulthood is we care for many people we don't particularly care for. And somebody who's a fellow writer said, well, we care about many people we don't particularly care about, meaning like people who write mean reviews on Amazon. We care about them, even though we don't particularly care about them. So it's interesting how, or like working is one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination. I meant that as a writer, sometimes instead of actually writing, I'll do research. I need to research this. It's 3 hours later now. Or a friend of mine is like, I'm rethinking my font. And I'm like, let me jump in and say, that's not work. But he said, no, I think working is one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination means that sometimes it's easier to keep working than to do the hard work of dealing with what's at home. Mm. And I thought, well, so sometimes the ambiguity that comes from being so brief actually allows for more interpretation, which I think is kind of intellectually stimulating.
They're all kind of a Rorschach test for what we're all going through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's like when you tell someone you're getting a divorce,
yes.
and half the people cry, and you're like, well, now I know a little something about you.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Just kidding if that was you.
Yeah.
To your point on working, can I read a few of your aphorisms on working? In addition to working as one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination, you said, nothing is more exhausting than the task that's never started.
Oh, yeah. I suffer from that.
What can be done at any time is often done at no time.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorites. Perfectionism is driven not by high standards, but by anxiety.
Yeah.
And then finally, last one, we can talk about all these. One of the worst uses of time is to do something well that need not be done at all.
Yes.
Which is so good. Think about this on so many levels.
Well, it's funny because a lot of these aphorisms come out of something that happened to me or a conversation that I had or, something that I read or a TV. There's something that got me thinking about it. So but part of the fun of an aphorism is kind of the drop mic quality where you just sort of say it and don't elaborate. A few of these have elaborations because I couldn't resist. But the story about that, what got me thinking about that aphorism was, if you listen to the Happier podcast, my sister Elizabeth is very, very messy. She's clutterblind and she's extremely messy. And every once in a while, she will graciously allow me to go over and help her clear her clutter. And she was, we were doing this and she had just giant stacks of unopened mail, which of course threw me into a panic. So we're going through her mail and she's a TV writer. So she's a member of the Writers Guild. And one of the things that she had was she just had so many unopened statements from the Writers Guild. And so she's looking at these and she's like, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to open these up. I'll buy a 3-hole punch and some binders, and then I'll arrange them chronologically, and then they'll be really neatly on the shelves. And I was like, okay, but you've never opened these. Do you need them? Do you ever use them? And she said, no, but I might use them. And I said, yeah, but could you just contact the WGA and say hey, I need my records related to something or, some time period. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure I could. So it's like, but she was like really getting ready to just spend hours in an organizational, effort that she didn't need at all. Or people, like somebody was elaborately alphabetizing their books, and like, not to be mean, but I'm like, this is not a person who's going back and looking for a novel that they read 5 years ago. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of person. I'm like, are you sure you need to be keeping these alphabetized? You can if you want, but you don't really need to. I have to alphabetize because I'm always looking for things, but maybe you don't need to do that work. It's always worth thinking about. It's always worth thinking about.
And to your point earlier, you also have an aphorism that says something like, if you haven't used something in like 5 years, you're okay to give it away.
Yeah. If you don't remember that you had it.
Oh, yeah, if you don't remember that you had it. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, I remember that sweater.
Yes.
Where is that?
Yes.
Yeah, time to give it away.
I remember once I was helping my husband clean out his closet, and I was like holding up 2 pairs of pants at a time, and he would say like yes or give away. And I held up a pair of pants. He goes, I've never seen that pair of pants before in my life. And I'm like, well, I guess somebody broke in and put them in here because I didn't buy them. And he's like, I honestly have no idea where this came from. It's like, well, either you now have a perfect pair of pants or like it's time to get rid of them because, if you don't know you have it, you're not
and
using
shortening pants too. Didn't you have something like if you have to shorten
if you
them?
don't, okay. So some people disagree with this. My secret of adulthood is if you don't like a pair of pants, don't pay to get them hemmed. How many people agree with me? Right? Because somebody was like, no, 1,000%, you should get them hemmed because maybe they'll be fine and then you'll have a whole pair of pants. I'm like, not in my experience. That never works. But anyway, so many people agree. But your mileage may differ.
You have to hem like every pair of pants. And so it's hard to distinguish.
Okay, that's right. But
yeah, you can't throw good money after bad.
Right. It's metaphorically true as well as literally true.
Talk about anxiety, perfectionism and anxiety.
Well, it's interesting because I write so much about happiness. People would often talk to me about perfectionism, and what's confusing and misleading about perfectionism is that people think like, well, if I'm trying to deal with my perfectionism, I have to lower my standards, but I don't want to lower my standards. But the fact is that doesn't even really help. Because what perfectionism is the anxiety. It's like the anxiety of being judged. It's the anxiety of being done. It's the anxiety of like, did I make the right decisions or not? Or have I not made a decision yet at all because I'm so worried about it? And so when you're struggling with perfectionism, you should really look to your anxiety and dealing with the anxiety, not dealing with the standards. It's kind of a misplaced. Well, another aphorism is the place that hurts isn't always the place that's injured. And I think perfectionism is something like that. It's misdirected attention. It's like, it's not the standards, it's the worry.
I still don't totally get how that works in my body. When like you fix something in your neck and all of a sudden like your leg is better.
Yeah, they're like, it's your hip flexor.
I know. I'm like, really? It was my hip flexor.
It's always the hip flexor.
Yeah.
Or your rotator cuff.
More the hip flexor for me.
Yeah,
but anyway. Okay, here are a few more. These are on desire. Nothing attracts people's interest like the attempt to keep something hidden. Everyone wants to open the box labeled confidential.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then I had a whole anecdote, which then I ended up taking out about the Streisand effect. Does anybody know about the Streisand effect? Okay, so I'm going to get the details wrong, but essentially the Streisand effect is the psychological phenomenon that if you try to hide something, you'll attract people's attention. So Barbara Streisand, the California Coast Guard had taken a lot of pictures to try to capture where the land was because of erosion and whatever. And so there were all of these, just these pictures of the lake, of oceanfront property. And so Barbara Streisand's lawyers tried to get them to take down the pictures for her house. Now, before they had started this action, like 6 people had looked at these images, like 3 of which were her own lawyers, and nobody was paying any attention to them. The minute they did this, of course, there was millions and TMZ and everybody's writing about it because it's like, what is she trying to hide? So it is, but it's just the minute if you remember like parental warnings on TV or rated R, it just makes people want to watch more.
Well, I have to say I read this and then later I was writing an email and I was like, ooh. And then I changed delete on my subject and I wrote confidential.
Oh, that is a good one. That's a good.
It was all you.
Yes. I can do that to trick my husband.
You also said nothing makes you feel like an expert more than a microphone. And here we are.
And here we are. Yeah,
must
no, it does. It really works. It really does work. And now we're going to take a short break.
Hey, Julia Louis-Dreyfus here. If you listen to me on my Wiser Than Me podcast, you probably already know that I'm an investor and an evangelist for the Mill Food Recycler. There are a lot of reasons to love Mill, but for me, it's all about the impact. Keeping food out of the garbage is one of the most powerful things we can do to help the planet every single day. We're talking banana peels, carrot tops, old takeout. When that stuff heads to the landfill, it becomes a huge driver of climate change. If you already compost, great. But of course, there's the smell, the flies, the running to the curb every day with a little leaking compost bag made of cornstarch. That's where Mill comes in. It makes keeping food out of the trash as easy as dropping it in. It can handle nearly anything, from a turkey carcass to like 20 avocado pits. It works automatically while you sleep. You can keep filling it for weeks, and it never, ever smells. Mill makes dry, nutrient-rich grounds that you can use in your garden, add to your compost, feed to your chickens, or Mill can get them back to a small farm for you. But you kind of have to live with Mill to really get it, and that's why they offer a risk-free trial. Go to mill.com/wiser for an exclusive offer.
You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. While you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/Gretchen. That's mintmobile.com/Gretchen. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month, 5-gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. And we're back.
Why did you not call this book Secrets of Life?
So I had this giant trove of aphorisms, and I decided that I wanted to choose the ones where I thought they would be like an answer to a perplexity that you face in adulthood. And life just felt more kind of general and more observational, but adulthood felt more like, because I don't know, I mean, like I never feel like an adult. And a lot of other adults say they don't really feel like adults either. So it's kind of like this idea of adults as being the ones who are taking control and making decisions and doing things, whereas life feels more, I don't know, more general. It's funny though, because I have other aphorisms that I would call mere observations, like a dog doesn't gaze at a waterfall, which is interesting, but it's a mere observation. It's not a secret of adulthood.
Can they not see that far?
No, it's because we look at a waterfall because we're like, look at the evanescence of beauty, or like, what is the meaning of life? And a dog is like, they're not looking at, they don't gaze at the moon or whatever,
I don't know. I have a soulful dog, but it's okay.
Well, I know, but yeah. Well, okay, you can disagree. And then I have my dark aphorisms, which are like bleak observations that I thought, nobody wants to read these. So, yeah.
So that'll be volume 2.
That'll be Gretchen Rubin After Dark. Yeah.
After dark.
It's more that they're judgy than that they're about death.
Oh, okay.
The aphorism is a very judgy form. Like you really have to fight against just the judginess of it. And my dark aphorisms some of them are kind of judgy, if I do say,
So I never thought of them as aphorisms, but I have a few like sayings.
Okay, no, that's it.
Which is kind
and
of
there's room at the back for people to write their own, because a lot of times people don't realize they have them until they start reading them, and they're like, "Oh, I have one." Okay, what are yours? I love them.
I turn them into greeting cards, actually.
Oh, that's
With Felix Doolittle, you can buy them. But anyway, one is always go to parties in the rain, because those are always the best parties, and nobody ever wants to go.
That's a great.
And then
that's
every time it's raining, I'm like, "Oh no, I have my saying. I'm going to go." So it also forces me to go.
That's true. That's literally true and metaphorically true.
Yep. And
I like that.
Also, never turn down a glass of champagne.
Okay. I have never turned down a cup of coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that says something about both of us.
That's
I guess.
good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I like that. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And it's very creatively satisfying to write them down.
Well, those are my only two.
No, I bet you have more. I bet you have,
I
no.
don't think so.
You don't have any related to reading?
Um,
I'm like always be willing to put down a book halfway.
Well, this is more a quote because my therapist once said, well, my old therapist when I had time for therapy, said, with a good book, you'll never be lonely.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's probably not her either. It's probably
Right.
like someone really
like
famous.
a folk wisdom. Yeah.
But I paid her for that advice.
Yeah, that's good. Well, clearly, yeah, yes, you're running with it. Yeah.
Okay, millions of books sold. You used to be a lawyer. You made this pivot. You talk about this in the book as well. What does this feel like now? How do you keep it going? And to everyone else who's just trying to sell like 300 books, how do you do it? What is the secrets of writing hood?
See, I have one piece of advice that I give to everybody who's trying to write, and that is to have something to say. Because if you have something to say, it's much easier. And this sounds kind of almost silly, but very often if you're stuck in writing, it's because you're really just trying to write words, and then it comes very hard. It's very cliche. It's awful. But when you really have something to communicate, even if your writing is bad, like you have this feeling of satisfaction of like communicating. I think it was somebody like John Cheever or somebody said that it was like, it's the pleasure of having news. Like, do you have news? And I think that's, and then you have to really know yourself about how to set yourself. This is my whole book, Better Than Before, which is like how to stick to a habit. Because I could tell you how I stick to habit, which is like to write every single day. I did write from like 5:30 to 9 a.m. my most difficult writing because I'm such a morning person, but now I have a new puppy. And so like she's kind of messed that up, but worth it. But like I know that's when I do my best writing. So I always would keep that for doing original writing, which is the hardest kind of work that I do. But like for many people, keeping a schedule is very useful. But for some people, it's like actually counterproductive and you should not try to keep a schedule. If you find yourself resisting a schedule, don't try to give yourself a schedule. Some people they absolutely have to have accountability. If they're going to stick to it. So they need a deadline, they need an accountability partner or a writing group or a deadline or, an agent who's asking them for stuff or a friend who's asking them for stuff. That's my 4 tendencies framework. So you can take the quiz on my site and find out which of these applies to you, and it will tell you kind of like how to use it.
I last talked to Gretchen about the 4 tendencies and took the quiz. Then I had everyone in my family take the quiz, and I have 4 kids, and they all have a different tendency, which all require different communication, different ways to explain everything. I'm like, oh, well, this explains a lot.
Right. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually easier because because then you're like, oh, now I understand like why this one doesn't behave like that one. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's just Gretchen Rubin's Rebel coming into a 4.
Exactly.
All these frameworks you've helped.
I love a framework. They say there are 2 kinds of people in the world: the kind of people who divide the world into 2 kinds of people, and those who don't. And I'm definitely the kind who does. I love a. Are you this? Are you that?
Oh, I should come up on the fly with like 20 of them for you.
Yeah.
I can't though.
Okay.
Okay. Are you a fiction or nonfiction reader?
Both. I grew up totally on fiction, but now I do read nonfiction.
Are you and edit heavily your podcast? Okay, I can't do it this way.
Okay.
Okay. Talking about your podcast for a little bit, because you've had that for
10 years. 10 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And we've never missed a week. We're so vain about that.
How do you do a week when you're going through something really hard?
We know that it's coming, and usually we do it week to week, but we will sometimes like go 2 weeks in advance just to have one in the can. Yeah.
And what is it about the podcast that brings you joy or that why you keep doing it?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Well, I do it with my sister, and like my sister and I had always had wanted to collaborate creatively for a really long time. So this is super satisfying that we found something. So it's not everybody would want to like be in business with their sister, but I'm very lucky that we're doing that. Actually, you're talking to Susie about Susie Welch's book.
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
The Values. So Susie Welch has this amazing, if you love a categorization, values thing where you can go online and find out what your values are. And there are 15 values, and my sister and I both took it. My sister and I have the very same top 5 values in different order, but that's got to be pretty unusual, right? Out of 15, that you have the same top 5. Anyway, so we're very much alike. So that's a huge joy. And then I love talking about this stuff. So it's fun to talk about it like I can have an idea and immediately talk about it, whereas a book, it's so protracted, and maybe I have an idea that doesn't fit into whatever book I'm writing right now. So that's exciting. And you get so much response. So I feel like the world is my research assistant. Like I'm writing, my next book is going to be about the empty nest, and people know that. And so like people will say, have you watched this TV show? Have you read this novel? What about this study? So it's great. And then, or we'll talk about an idea and we'll see, examples from people's lives or something we got wrong or, taking an idea and putting a twist on it. So it's very creatively satisfying and fun. And Elizabeth and I are both writers, and so, because she's a TV writer. And so we're so fiddly with our writing. It's fun to talk about ideas and like not worry about like, well, is this a better verb or is that a better verb? It's kind of fun to just, whatever verb you say, you can use. Yeah.
Interesting. Being in the public eye, because you've become such an expert on so many things, an expert on happiness, if you can even achieve that, an expert on just so many different things. What does that feel like to you? Like when you're walking down the street or when you're at a conference or whatever, like one of the values in the grid is like valuing that in and of itself, like being someone that gets recognized or can be respected. Luminous. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about now somebody else's framework.
Yeah. Now this is Susie Welch's. It's the Welch-Bristol inventory called Values Bridge. Yeah.
Obviously, I love a framework.
Yeah.
Interviewing both of them.
Yeah.
But what is that like for you? And does it help or hurt your work? Like, just how is it? Is it something you expected? Is it something very important to you?
I certainly didn't expect it. I really enjoy it. Like I like it when somebody, because I go to the Metropolitan Museum every day, people kind of know that I might be lurking about. And so people will often stop me there. And I really, really like it. So I enjoy that part of it. It's funny. A lot of people seem to think that I would feel a lot of pressure to be happy all the time, which I really do not feel that pressure to be happy all the time. Or to behave well all the time. Because of the new puppy, like my husband and I were, because I am such a rule follower, I was like, they said we have to do it this way or this way. And, and my husband said to me very gently, you're being very critical and I don't like it. And I was like, okay, I appreciate you said this in a calm way because I'm getting kind of worked up. And now for a quick ad break.
Okay, Gretch, it's summer, and in summer, I love to refresh my wardrobe with Quince. Last summer, Mindy, my friend, had this great tiered maxi dress, and I said, where did you get that? She said, Quince. I looked it up. It was so affordable and available in so many colors. So I got black because I always get black. And this summer, I'm back to Quince, refreshing all of my tees.
The Quince clothes are timeless, lightweight, and far more elevated than anything else at the price that you're paying, like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. The best part is everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/Gretchen for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Gretchen to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gretchen. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Today, we all face immense pressure to perform, to provide, to keep it all together, men and women alike. So it is no wonder that 6 million men in the United States suffer from depression every year, and it's often undiagnosed. I know many men who are in therapy, have done therapy, who have found it immensely helpful.
And BetterHelp is convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Gretchen Rubin. That's betterhelp.com/Gretchen Rubin.
And we're back.
Can you give us a quick preview of what to know about the empty nest?
Oh, interesting. I know you've got a
just,
ways to go.
prepare me.
You got a ways to go. No, I'm so fascinated about it. Yeah, and anybody hit me up if you have any insights, observations, questions. What I think is interesting about the empty nest is that for many people, it is a forced reckoning in adulthood. Many things that you've put off dealing with or have been kind of obscured by family life come, and in any case, you have to sort of figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do with like the rest of my life? Because especially since people are living longer and living healthier, like that's a huge chunk of time. So how do you want to set yourself up? And what I found is that a lot of people, even people who dread the empty nest, do not really prepare for the empty nest. They don't think about it in advance. Some people do very wisely, but a lot of people don't. There's a lot of things you can do to prepare, like set yourself up for success. And then my other big observation is that some people like are fine or like enjoy it. And I'm interested, well, why are they enjoying it and other people are not? Like, how do you account for these different responses? And then also for the people who are like experiencing uneasiness, sadness, whatever, they're experiencing it in kind of a vague, general way. And I always think identify the problem, like really understand what you're experiencing. And I'm realizing that there's a lot more clarity. And what I hope the book will do is really give people clarity, like this is what I'm experiencing, this is why I'm experiencing it, and therefore, what would I do? And it's good if you have like conflict with your sweetheart. So I was talking to somebody, and so with the husband and the wife, and they were both saying like they were going through a tough time. And so the husband said to me, I am just so jealous of my son. I mean, he is off having the time of his life. Like I'm happy for him, but I see him like taking all these great classes, playing all this sports, going to parties all the time, meeting all these new people. He's going to take a semester abroad. It just sounds so funny. He doesn't have any responsibilities. He's just like doing what he wants. And interesting, right? And his wife is like, I think we should get a puppy. And I was like, no, not for him, for sure. Because he's feeling, I'm burdened by responsibility. I feel constrained by my routine. I envy like freedom, change, adventure, newness. It's like, okay, that's what he's seeking. Now, if she's like, the house is too quiet, there's no energy, blah, blah, maybe the puppy is right for her. But it's like, if you're a married couple, like you got to think about both of you. And trying to understand how somebody could be experiencing something, a loss in a different way from you. And so then you can just be much more constructive in how you deal with it instead of, because a lot of times it's like, don't you miss them at all? Anyway, there's just a lot of misunderstandings because people don't understand how other people could be experiencing it. Also, it's really hilarious. Like so I say there are 12 changes people might experience, like change in identity, change in purpose, change in the structure of time, things like that. But the funniest one is change in standards. People's standards change. Like somebody's like, okay, my husband and I, we like we eat in bed and like each watch our iPads like with our headphones in. I was like, okay. A lot of people just like eating cheese and crackers for dinner. They're like, I'm never cooking a meal again. But then other people are like, oh, it's no fun. A friend of mine said like, it was no fun to cook for 5. This one's a vegetarian. This one hates onions. Like it's like, it was such a pain. And so I would just make simple things and try to get it done. But now it's really fun for me to make complicated, challenging things because it's just the two of us and it's like a small, I don't have to make a lot. and we can really suit ourselves. And so again, it's like people are experiencing different things because they're coming to it with different expectations, different hopes, different desires. So it's all just very fascinating to sort through it.
And Leary wrote about that in her book, how she and her husband, Dennis Leary, once the kids left, would like walk around naked in the house all the time and like curse a bloody stream like nonstop because they were never allowed to do that before.
Yes. Walking around naked is something that many, many people talk about. I don't know how many people actually do it. Somebody said, my husband said he was going to cook dinner naked. And I'm like, just nothing like bacon that splatters. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I want that, but that was so to funny, him freedom.
Notion that like all these people are like, oh, if only my kids weren't here, I wouldn't wear clothes.
I know. I know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a different.
I know.
I prefer clothes.
No, I prefer clothes. I'm clothes positive, but there's. But like a lot of people, my college roommate was saying that the great delight of her life was, so her father lives with her and her husband. And so during dinner, she and her father go and watch BritBox. So they like love a British mystery, and her husband watches sports. Because she was like, the family dinner was so important, but with just the three of us, it didn't feel as important. And so we're doing this instead, and we just really, really love it. And it's like, if that works for you and that's like the fun thing to do, good, Okay,
what is the pub day for that book? Because I will be pre-ordering.
No, I haven't even sold it.
Like, oh my gosh.
I always do this thing where I'll write a huge amount of it before I try to, I feel like I can't describe it until I've written practically the whole thing.
Go to the same publisher?
Yeah, but they always want to know what I'm going to talk about. And then I'm like, I don't know. Like the only way I have ideas is like as I'm writing.
We're a publisher, just saying.
Yeah, okay. Good. Hold that thought.
Okay, just throwing it out there. Okay, I'll just close with this one since you almost closed the book with this one. But if we take the blame when we deserve it, people will give us responsibility.
Yes.
Take that for what you will. I picked it at random. Okay, that was a bad one. I'll do another. No, it's not that it's bad. I mean, okay, how about this one? Every strength contains its weakness, and weakness can bring strengths.
Yes.
That's a little more uplifting.
Yes.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for this. This is so fun.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Totally Booked with Zibby, formerly Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. If you loved the show, tell a friend, leave a review, follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens, and spread the word. Thanks so much. Oh, and buy the books.
Well, we hope you're feeling happier after this episode. I am thrilled to share that Zibby's California Indie Bookstore is one of more than 100 locations across the country, joining us for our first ever nationwide Read 25 Day on Wednesday, June 25th. The event will feature a special 25-minute silent reading experience, followed by lively discussions about the books that we love. As we have all year, this is part of our partnership with bookshop.org. Find out more at happiercast.com/read25day to learn how you can participate. And if you loved this episode, Totally Booked publishes new episodes every day with the best, buzziest, and most underrated authors. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now. Remember, the best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. From the Onward Project.